Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Sunday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and freaking early. It's 3:31 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, today's video, I want to talk about one particular right-wing article that I came across today and just my thoughts on it. As you guys know, I've told you guys, I usually tell you guys this all the time, that I don't just look at liberal stories. I want to know what everybody's talking about. I'll look at the far right, the far left, everything in between. I want to see everything. And this is from the far right, not the far right, but the right, the conservative right. And it's from the Washington Examiner. The link will be right down below. Like I said, I'll probably use this for my thumbnail, the picture, so you can see the exact headline that I saw. It's from the Washington Examiner, and it says, Biden wants you to pay for deadbeats' mortgages. This gets my attention because I've always wanted to own a home. And they're talking about Biden. So I kind of want to see what they're talking about. So I start reading down. I'll talk about my finances and me wanting to own a home a little more after this. But I start reading down in the article. And it starts off talking about, they use this specific date of December 2020, first of all, back when mortgages were lower. And geez, why December 2020? Oh yeah, that was the last full month that Donald Trump was in office, right? Back when everything was perfect. Yeah, I'm being sarcastic. And they talk about interest rates going up and how hard it is on homeowners these days. Now, look, I've never had a mortgage, so I don't know a whole lot about this. I've always wanted to own a home. I've never had a mortgage, but yes, mortgage rates have gone up because of to keep inflation down. Okay, I understand that. But if you get a fixed rate, most people get a fixed rate, so they're not affected by unforeseeable market swings like this. They wouldn't be affected by this, right? Unless you try to get something that's a variable rate, or the balloon payments and all that stuff, which is very sound, in my opinion, very sound financial foresight. Anyway, so they start talking about that. Then they say, well, Joe Biden's federal housing finance committee wants to make you subsidize mortgages for deadbeats. All right. So they say in this article, it says that if you have a credit score of over 670, that you're now going to, they use the example of if you have a mortgage of $400,000, which even here in Connecticut is a lot. I'd say I think the average home here in Connecticut goes for about just under $250,000, probably about $230,000, the average home here in Connecticut. So $400,000, you're doing pretty good. I'm going to guess your average mortgage payment would probably be about $4,000 a month. Okay, so Biden's plan here, apparently, according to them, I don't know if this is true or not. I just read this one article. I'm just talking about this one article and their view of the facts. And they say as of May 1st, that people that are responsible homeowners with mortgages will now have to subsidize other people who have lower credit scores and who haven't paid their bills. So I started thinking about this. And so if basically they're saying if you have a credit score of over 670, which isn't all that high. I've been working on my credit since I've been clean and sober, and my credit score is over that now. And I have enough for a down payment, and I still can't get a mortgage now. I'll talk about that more in a second. All right, so they say, they're all outraged. $40. They're going to take $40 of your money. So say if you're paying, you got a $400,000 mortgage, and you're probably paying $4,000 a month. You're going to have to take a whole $40 of that to subsidize, I guess it's, insurance if people slip and can't pay their mortgages, right? To subsidize people with credit scores that aren't as good and who can't come up with $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. And so they could help them buy a house, which is good for everybody. Well, almost everybody. I'll get to that more in a second. $40. So I thought about that. What's $40 today? I went to Walmart yesterday. Okay. I bought, 10 items. It came to $60. $60. The stuff I had, I didn't even put it in the cart. I put it, where the child seat is. It barely filled up the child seat. 10 items. and it came to $60 for one day's groceries. I'll go shopping again today. It was just, it wasn't the week's groceries. It was just the day's groceries. $60. And I'd be considered almost poverty level. So honestly, $40 just is not a whole lot of money. You know what? If I could get a mortgage, I'll tell you why I can't get a mortgage in a second, but if I could get a mortgage, why not help somebody else out? It makes, what is $40? So somebody else can have the American dream. You won't even miss it. One day is a one-day shopping. Not even. But no, because these people this is what really gets me. They label the people with lower credit scores as irresponsible, because they didn't foresee the future. They weren't able to save up money, and they have a low credit score. And I thought about that. What about most people? I'm thinking here, most people like me that had a low credit score, well, because it was because of addiction or a medical problem. And medical bills and the whole medical system here in America and medicine and all that eats up all of your savings and ruins your credit. When you go to the emergency room, you get a $4,000 bill for 10 stitches. Actually, I got a bill for over $2,000 for, I think it was 4 or 5 stitches in my leg. Yeah, so that could take, So are we really talking about people that are just, because in this article, they give the version of, somebody that's just throwing money around and not saving up their acorns like the good squirrel for the winter. They're just, just living for today, man, partying it up and at everybody else's cost. And I don't think that's the truth. I think most people in this situation, and if they have the foresight and want to own a home, especially like if they have a family, they probably suffered through some situation, especially with COVID that we just went through. A lot of people had medical situations, or lost people like me, and just don't have the savings or not enough savings and the proper credit score. What about people with no credit? Like, because of my addiction, right? The 20 and 25 years of addiction, I did have bad credit. But I fixed it because as soon as I got clean and sober, a couple of years, I started working on my credit. But the problem was I didn't have bad credit, but I didn't really have any credit at the time. All my bills were paid off, but I didn't really have any credit. All right. So I started working on my credit. I got my credit up to a good 700 points at least. I started saving money every week as much as I could for the last 16 years. I've saved up enough for probably almost a 20% down payment on a house here in Connecticut. Great. I still can't get a loan. Still, they won't even talk to me for a mortgage. Why? Because the nature of my business, the nature of my job. I'm an artist. One of my incomes is here on YouTube, and I've got about a half dozen gigs, and they're not considered stable income, or they just, as soon as they hear that I'm an artist or YouTube and all that, nobody wants to give me anything. So I'm still stuck here renting. But I looked at the way they phrase this. And then I started thinking about this too. What reason, you think it would be good for the country? People, the American dream. Why not just $40? And the way they paint these people, that they're just, they're just throwing their money around. And I don't think that's the case at all. They're irresponsible, and they're deadbeats. Labeling people as deadbeats. And more than likely, we're talking about somebody that probably had cancer or COVID or something like that, and ended up spending, and their credit score and their finances were affected. I think most people that are irresponsible probably aren't looking to buy homes. And I thought about this. I thought back when I was 19 or 20, and I wanted to make money with real estate. That was my original plan, before life came along. And I thought about the reason why some of the more middle class or upper class people might not want people like with this kind of income, a little less savings, a little lower credit score, might not want them to get a mortgage. Why wouldn't they want them to get a mortgage? So they could continue paying rent. So they could continue making money off the poor people. So people like me can continue paying rent and be stuck in this never-ending cycle of never being able to buy a home. Because that extra $40 a month that they're going to pay, that Biden wants them to pay, will help us get out of that. and that will be less money in their pocket for their people paying rent. So I think there's two sides to this. Anyway, the article's down below. Sometimes I just don't understand their view of this. That they talk about equity too in here, because this is based on a credit score. They say this is all in the name of equity, and they say that with a stink in their voice, like the stink eye, equity. And they say it's not even based on race, And I started thinking about that. When things are based on race or have race in mind, they complain. And this doesn't, because it's based on the credit score, 670 and above. And when it's not based on race, they still complain. They just complain no matter what. God forbid they help any other person by giving them a teeny hand up to get what they have, to help them get a leg up. All right, you guys, let me know what you think. The article's down below. Have a good Sunday.